everyone. Thank you all for coming here tonight. I know most of you. My name is Penny Wright. We're really happy to be at the sort of final point of what has been quite a process. And I think, in a way, it's obviously started with Hilary, Woodward, and Inda, Eaton. But I think Hilary sort of had on her bucket list for a long time writing songs. And Hilary, like many of you here, is a person who tackles that bucket list, and that's probably one of the overriding reasons that we're here. Many of you know Hilary, but I'll just tell you a couple of things about her. Hilary is a lifelong resident of Southampton, whose family dates back from the 17th century, whose family are the owners and proprietors of Herrick Hardware, owned by Deborah and Noel Hare in the second row. And so she comes from a long line of Herricks. And she is married to Eric Woodward in the second row, who's a local architect of renown. Hilary has worn many hats in her lifetime so far, and I'm saying so far. She was a board member, an early board member of the Hampton Day School. She had a course there for 3 years. She was a teacher there in the early years. She and Eric were the founders of the East End Contra Dance group, and that was 30 years ago. Hilary was the handbell choir director and the junior choir director at the Southampton Presbyterian Church for 12 years. At Bridgehampton, yes, and Southampton. Don't depend on me for facts here. Okay, Hilary, and these are all just little lists that I made. Hilary has been a yoga teacher for many years at various different venues, including here at the library. She is a past president of the Southampton Historical Museum Board of Trustees. She is the current proprietor with Sally Van Allen, raise your hand, Sally. Sally Halsey Van Allen of Real Quiet Mowing, so you probably know what that's about. And that's what I have on my list. Hilary and Eric are also the parents of two adventurous, wonderful kids. One of whom, Lucy, is in Hawaii, and the other, Emma, is in Boston. So please welcome Hilary Woodward. So it helps if you have a bucket list, if you have a wonderful friend and mentor, and that is Inda Eaton, standing over on your right. Inda Eaton, who is known by many of you, is a globe-trotting singer-songwriter based in East Hampton, Amagansett area. Her knack for creating crafty hooks, meaningful lyrics, and killer harmonies has found favor with fans of rock, country, and acoustic music all over the world since she started touring in 1996. Inda started out studying the classical piano. I was interested to learn, but as soon as a 6-string guitar fell into her hands, her future was sealed. This troubadour then traveled the globe, strumming everywhere from Latin America to the Australian outback to Germany. Inda returned stateside to pour herself into a music career, but not before contracting cerebral malaria on a trek through Africa. We didn't know that. I'm glad we didn't even worry. Though friends joke that her near-death detour made her slightly narcoleptic, it had fully awakened her to her path in music. While recuperating in Wyoming, Inda recorded her first album, titled Thin Fine Line. 2 years later, she headed to New Orleans to record her second, Never Too Late to Fly, which features members of the Subdueds and the Radiators. Over the years, she's toured extensively, opening for names like John Hiatt, Blues Traveler, and Earl Scruggs. Her studio recordings have garnered critical acclaim and have promoted her to release several more albums and continue her work in that area. Her most recent project, which is soon to be recorded, is going to be titled Go West. And when we were chatting earlier, Inda told me that one of her favorite moments of her life was writing a song that was performed by Julie Andrews at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade. That's a wonderful accomplishment. Please welcome Inda Eaton.
Yeah, she didn't. It's not in the rock and roll class because you don't put which yoga studio is it? But I did. I co-wrote a song, was part of a team with Julie Andrews, and this is after she doesn't sing anymore. She had all that craziness with her throat, and she actually agreed to sing. It was part of a children's book series, and so we got a song going, and she sang it, and I produced it. In fact, Jeffrey, my drummer, played the drums for it. We produced the whole thing. And then it was kind of a lark. It ended up being on the Today Show within 3 days. It was a lark. It was just kind of presented, and then I got a call, you have to come back, we're going to put on the Today Show. And then within 2 weeks, it was she performed it on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I sat there with a spiked coffee. I sat there just carving up the baby, because you just couldn't believe. You just couldn't believe something like that. It's special. And now, I go talk to kids a lot. They're like, you say, oh, Julie Andrews, and it's like, what? So I can tell you guys, everybody else like, Julie, whatever. There's like Katy Perry or whatever. So it's like, okay. Hilary, you start us off here.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. This means a lot, and I'm honored that you're here. We're a couple, like 3 years ago, Eric and I stumbled into the Sag Harbor Whaling Museum at 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. It was in the middle of the summer. And before we stumbled in, we saw this giant bus that had Go West on it. And we thought that was interesting. It was a folk singer performance in their room that's about the size of that area of seats. And they had tables and they had beer. It was being run by the host was a folk singer who had invited Inda to participate. So we were listening, we were enjoying the nice, sweet folk music, and then Inda came on, and the whole room, just like the energy in the room went just up 5 notches, and Eric and I were immediately smitten with Emma and her songs and her music. So the following spring, when Eric's 60th birthday was coming around, I thought, oh, maybe I could call Inda Eaton and maybe she would do a concert for us. And so I got up the nerve to call, and Inda was so gracious, immediately said, that'd be great. So we had several of you were at that concert, and we had such a good time. It was right before we left on our bike trip. A month after I called her initially, I got the idea that I would like to write a song for Eric's 60th birthday. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I could call her in, tell her that I'd like to write a song. And I did, and she immediately said, come on over, we'll write the song. So Eric and I took off on our 4-month cross-country bike trip a couple of months later, and all I could think of was I wanted to do more of that songwriting. And it stems back from a long, long time ago when I was college age and in a small folk group that basically sang for alumni associations and stuff. But I just so enjoyed singing, and we didn't write our own music. We sang a lot of classic folk songs, but it was just something that always remained in my head. And being a church choir director and involved in choral singing my whole life, it was this thing inside me that I really would like to try that kind of writing and singing. So here we go. And Inda has said many times, we got to get that church lady out of you. Which is a work in progress.
Maybe I had maybe that's how you heard that.
Inda, for those of you who haven't heard her perform, to sing one of my favorite songs just to start us off of hers, called Casper, from her Go West album.
I will do that. And I'm listening to your story, I'm like, oh, and you guys know Hilary so well, only Hilary would come, like, cold call, you know, let's write a song, and your exuberance and what you've done is so Hilary. You know, I used to be a choir director, and I just thought maybe we could write a rock and roll song. But that's, you know what? Why not? That's life is short, and that's how it happens. So I will. I'll play you this song. This is called Casper, and then we'll get going. Driving into Casper off the exit out of drive, looking for a lover, middle of the night, and I see you in the headlights. Lights off 25, I have seen you in the faces and the smiles, and I thought that I would find you through the miles, in the arms of my hometown. Now it's time to go to the arms of my hometown for a while. Down by the river at the old Ramada, my grandma worked 2 shifts. She's waitressing, she raised both those kids, and my other granddaddy worked the oil fields. Out of business, out of town, well, he was renting cars. And a passage out of town. Too tired to call you, strung out from the road, 'cause I've lost my pride and I've lost my drive, and now it's time to go to the arms of my hometown for a while. Okay, so I hijacked some of this with a PowerPoint today. Poor Hilary doesn't even know what's on the thing. And Thank you. And that's a great example of what I was thinking of today. And finding your voice, and something that Hilary and I talked about a lot, is there are ideas and there are words. And in the idea of taking on songwriting, it's a very three-dimensional situation. I don't think there's an art quite like it. Ideas and words. And so I love this image because this just, to me, this exemplifies Hilary. She's there with Eric at the end and their journey. I love that shot. You got to do more with that. That shot, even if it wasn't even about the project, we had to put it in the PowerPoint because it's so good. And it's funny because when Hilary came back from that bike trip with Eric, you know, the obvious thing would be like, oh, we're going to write songs about the bike trip. And there, you know, we saw these sunsets. And I think when we think about songwriting conceptually, we think, oh, we were riding down the road, and to the left this is happening, and this is, but sometimes it's not that way. We get an idea, we get an image. And I thought what was more interesting about Hilary's, some of her thoughts were what was going on in her head as she was riding up these massive hills. So I thought this was a good place to start with our discussion of finding your own voice. You just decide, I love this picture, and not only do I love this image, it just says so much about Hilary's character that she just would plunge in and ride from coast to coast and just say, well, it's a bucket list, I'm going to do this. Because I think on projects like this, and in arts and in songwriting, we say, well, if we didn't learn to write a song by the time we were 18, it's over. If we didn't play softball when we were 18, we never played again. If we didn't start skiing, we're done. If we, you know, we have this framework that if we didn't start these things at a young age, we're never going to do it. And some things, you know, are ridiculous, like maybe like riding your bike across the country, because it's too much, you know, on the old body, but why not? And why not songwriting too? I know we spend so much time saying in the arts, we're going to educate the kids for the arts. But God, the minute you leave the door, there's no time for you in the arts. And I just love that you found your way back around to start writing songs, because why not? Like if you can ride your bike across the country, I think you can write a song. I don't think it's, and Hilary's a prolific writer anyway, so why not write songs? So, you know, that church can go a long way. They have tones and harmony, so, right? So that's, I hijacked that. I love that about Hilary. And so then the next image, because I'm trying to think of like a formula. This is what I do when I'm not performing. I do a program called Ideas to Inspire. It's a music education supplemental program. And so a lot of my students, again, are young age, everywhere from elementary to high school to college. I go to prisons, pre-Ks, you name it. I work with people about songwriting and expressing their story. And Hilary, you're my first long-term adult student that we got to try these formulas out on. And it's been fun because we got to take the gloves off a little bit. And I swear if you sat in one of our songwriting sessions, it would sound like probably a psychotherapy session on both sides. The tea gets going, you know, you need about an hour to get going, then boom, it's like the ideas really fly from the paper. So I thought those were two good images to start with. And not that Jacob here doesn't need our help, but we all need our help. Like why we should keep writing? Why are we waiting, you know, to teach the 12-year-old? We need to teach each other. So I've had a ball with you in the kitchen table, and so there you go. So the next deal, I'm going to give you, what we thought is we would share this idea of finding your voice with a couple of songs that Hilary has worked on. I thought too, with this, we'll throw in a song to show you that some 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in Wyoming, rural Wyoming, wrote last year, Soup to Nuts. And then we take some questions and answers, I think, throughout the whole thing, and then at the end, and, you know, surely something to know about your handbell. I was a handbeller too, and that's not my CV, but that gets drowned out. So I'm going to just go to the first song, and Hilary, I'll let you take over Hidden Valley. I thought we'd start with this.
Great. We started writing the Hidden Valley, as I said before, we went on the bike trip. And although this says hunger, I think there at the top, it's basically to show that one of the things we did right away was word association. When I came in and said I'd like to write a song, for Eric. Well, first of all, we spent probably a couple of hours in the psychotherapy thing, and I was describing our whole life. And then Inda said, well, wait a minute, you were talking about that Hidden Valley place you go out in the woods. I think that's the song. So we are going to share that song. But meanwhile, we did, as I was talking, Inda was writing, and she would say, okay, now we're going to do word association. She'd say a word, and then I'd have to write it down, and then quickly, without thought, write whatever came to mind, 5 words. And then the process is that after you get done with that, you start circling words that just seem interesting or form a pattern or something, and then you begin to create some lyrics out of that. So that's been really fun.
Well, let's play it for them.
Okay.
This is, I thought, I will also say on this, and I say it to a lot, there's ideas and words. And they're not necessarily the same thing, and you could literally read the ingredients on a soup label and have that be your song. You can, words, but I think what's more important is the idea. And I think Hilary brought an idea, and then we just tried to bring the words in for the idea. And this is image I love as an idea for this song. And we cut it down, there's only 1 image per song. I think that's the image we're going to choose. You know them, but that could be anybody. I think that's an iconic shot. And why not?
One just quick thing about what I love about and wanted to work with, have Inda be my mentor, is because when she writes a song and sings it, it's often very visual and definitely a storyline, and I just like that. So,
well, let's play it.
Okay.
We'll play the Hidden Valley. This is what came out.
Beyond the pond and up the hill, we'll
it's just got that nice, it's very folky. And the thing is, I just want to add into this too, and this one and really everyone. Hilary is, well, you know Hilary, like she really comes with like 10 versions of the song, handouts for everyone. And it just, on every one of these, you really knew the idea. And again, I have to interject that there's ideas and words. And you'd be standing there, something significant would happen in your life. And just if you're a visual artist, you say, I want to take that photo. I'm going to paint that painting. I see this. Same, I think, with the song. It's like, that's a song I want to write about. But that's an idea. And then I think sometimes in the process of words, it's not that the idea changes, but it does veer. And just like this one image could mean one thing to all of us, and just like any other type of artistic endeavor, you kind of find the smallest detail and bring it out. And I really feel that's how Hidden Valley happened. Yeah. So I think too, if you have questions, throw them out there, but at the end we can have a little discussion about the writing process. But you want to keep moving?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got it. I thought this one was going to be a complicated concept. Yeah.
This one's called Roxy. It's about my mother-in-law, and that is a complicated subject. I wrote a poem for her when she was interred a couple of years ago after she had passed away a few years ago. And I'm going to read you the full poem because I think it's interesting, and you can see, I don't know whether that's the full poem or it might be. But there's a lot of work that goes on, and there's probably about 10 pages like that, the same poem with scratches and rewrites and stuff. I love the process of rewriting. So I'm going to read you the full poem, and then we'll sing the song that came out of that. That last morning, somewhere in the deep hours before dawn, did you know you were preparing to go? Had you completed enough to say goodbye to the world you love so? You brushed your hair, stared in the mirror a long time. What did you see? A little girl at her mother's knee, the determination of a smart young woman, longing to be who she already was. In your eyes, a reflection, the love of a mother, the pain of dissolution, the power of resurrection, the path of creation, the curiosity of you. We met sharing love for your beautiful son. A plant on your table drew us over. You said it needed water. We stood and studied it for a long time, fostering its flowers into those last hours. I was merely a bud when we met, and you, curious, creator, opinionated, strong, open, patient, hopeful, too much, too much. You trusted my blooming would come. Yet the persistence of you somehow softened my hardened coat. We watered those small flowers that last morning, and I did bloom, but only after you left. Too late to thank you in person. So the poem became the song, and I think we should just...
Well, this is, I know, and I didn't give you that. This is tricky because I was just jumping on subjects like this is tricky because you have a poem in mind, you know the person, there's a lot of emotion attached to already what you think and see, and it's sometimes tough to translate that into a song. Those are tricky subjects. When somebody comes and said, can you write a song for so-and-so or write a song for this particular occasion, because you already have so much preconceived information, but I didn't, because I was getting to know Doxy through Hilary's words, and of all the things that she told us about your mom, Eric, I was so fascinated by her artistry and the fact that she was into watercolors and figuring out the Fibonacci sequence of what was really going on. That told me, beyond the stories that Hilary told me, I thought, what kind of incredible woman does this? It's got to be the most fantastic, we just don't know people like this. And I can see why, what a presence as a mother-in-law that would be. And then you're trying to write this song and bring this to life. It was a huge task. So I thought this is a perfect image. Even beyond any photo or image of what Doxy looked like at various stages, I just thought this was awesome. And when you told me about this, it changed everything. Well, I thought, what a character. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's larger than life.
Yeah, she was. This was her work.
So this is, let's see, let's try to get the tempo here. I'll take her out again.
The last morning before dawn, did you know when you were preparing to go? Had you come clear enough to say goodbye to the world you love so? You brushed your hair, stared in the mirror a long time. What did you see? The many stages of a beautiful face, longing for shelter with imperfect grace. You tried to be who you already were. In your eyes, the love of a mother, the pain, dissolution, the strength of renewal, the vision of an artist, the curiosity of you. We met sharing love for your beautiful son. A plant on the table needed water, you putting flowers in the hours. You held them in the dark, this morning before dawn, did you know that you were preparing to go? Had you completed enough to say goodbye? In your eyes, the love of a mother, the pain, the solution, the strength of renewal, the vision of an artist, the curiosity of you. In your eyes, the love of a mother, the pain, the solution, the strength of renewal, the vision of an artist, the curiosity of you. Forth a picture, fading flower. Sometime later I went for water. Spirit strong, but your body was forever gone.
Gotta know, I'm like in the backyard doing things, and I hear your song. Yeah. That's a tough one. I think in songwriting, like you said, when you sing about somebody who has or a thing that people already have a huge perception about, it's tough. And I've done, to this day, my grandmother, who's still alive, but she hates Casper because she just feels, it was something about my grandfather and the renting car. I'm like, get up, it's just over it. People love the song. And it's just, I mean, every time, fortunately, she's in a nice, balmy, happy place. We don't have to do it anymore, but she just smiled. But it's like every time that song would come, I was like, oh, it's tough because people have the people that are still with us have a preconception about those situations. But I think authors and artists, and painters and photographers deal with this all the time. And, we had talked about in our sessions, as a great vulnerability about writing about topics that are so sensitive. And let's take this one.
Yeah, this one, this is a song that talking about ideas and everything, it's sort of, I probably had 5 or 10 pages of written prose on this one, and luckily I found something out.
What was the idea?
The idea was, that I came from watching my niece, Debbie Mill's daughter, with her babies, and her newest baby, the 3rd son, when he was pretty young, and just how in love she was and is with her children. It's just remarkable to watch. And so I began thinking about that, and I also was thinking about my own experience of having infants, and I had a little bit of postpartum depression, or maybe a lot. I don't know. It wasn't popular. I mean, it wasn't known then, so I was just struggling with overwhelming sadness and everything else. While all my friends were having babies, they were so happy, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I was just trying to bring those two ideas sort of together in a song, and there was one moment in time where my sister-in-law was visiting from California, and my oldest daughter, baby, was about 6 weeks old, and she said, "Can I hold her?" We were sitting around at our parents' house, and she said, "You know, I'll take her," and I was so relieved because I just needed someone to take her. And she said, and then her boys were there, and they were like 10 and 12 or something. They're pretty older, and they were on their own. They were just like, "I'm getting my breakfast cereal," and everything, and I was thinking, oh my God, this needs me constantly. And so that was just the confluence of all of those things coming together. I'm not sure, it's still a work in progress. So what's up here is...
Well, it kind of starts like this. I remember what we did is we couldn't figure out where it was going, so we broke it down to Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. And then we got it, and then it goes to something like this. That's kind of a fun way to... It's useful sometimes. You have an idea, and you get so mired down in the words and so mired down of where am I going with this. I like to do this sometimes just to say, well, this is a beginning once a time, the journey, the end. It sounds so simple, but sometimes that's a great technique if you're lost in the struggle of a song to ask yourself, well, where really do you want to end up? Because I think there's this misconception that you sit with your paper and your guitar, or your piano, or your harmonica, and it just all comes to you, this great passion plan. I don't think that's really true. I think you can get mired down. So we were getting mired down, and so we went back to the basics, part 1, part 2, part 3. And then you obviously start to get to some more of a paragraph prose form. And even then, it's tough. But I think this is a good framework because when you get lost in here, like what are we trying to say here? Words are words, ideas are different. And I think it's helpful to go back and forth and break it down. What the hell is the story? So there you go. And we'll do it. Yeah. Yeah. And what's fun about this is if you heard Hilary's story, you just think this is it is a very bubbly song. This is like a real cheer up to me. It's a very lovely.
Oh, and then the chorus came from a poem that I love. It's part of it's the first line of it. Some of you may recognize it is "Look to this day, every day, for it is life, the very life of life." So that sort of came into the chorus.
It's gonna be like a Huggies commercial or something.
And it is a work in progress.
That's how we couch things that are falling off the cliff. Is that about right?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Look to this day, every day. Be love the person you are. Be a newborn and you will know. Every moment is a lifetime.
Here we go.
You held tiny body and I watched and I wondered. Relief from the holding and the changing of needs. You said you wanted it back. Your boys all grown, so on their own, on their own.
That's a lot of words. Here we go. Let's try it.
Relieved, I was tired, I was joyful and aching that you would take my place, so I let go. You said this time is precious, only lasts so long. In the end, we're on our own. So we go, look to this day, every day. Be love the person you are. Be a newborn and you will know that moment is a lifetime.
Let's try this one, right?
I remember the day when you held her close. The years all gone and the babies all grown. I wonder at a mother who wouldn't let go. so on her own, so on her own, on her own.
Do the chorus again, or is it kind of leading in with us on her own? So on her own, on her own, so on her own, on her own. It's really cheerful. I mean, I don't typically like to write cheerful songs, but it's we were laughing about that some show behind. Typically when things are happening, they're really good. You don't ever take the time to write about that. Like, who would write them? Really? I mean, you know what I mean? That's funny about you and your spirit is you would take something that was a real tough topic in your mind and you turned it into a cheerful song. And so there you go, you got a cheerful song. Before we hit this next one, I want to say as we roll to the next one, which is hard words, I want to say this. This is really the one that has so much to do with that road trip. But I have to say, the road trip that they took really framed the writing, because it's not just what's going on in the now. So you have two people riding their bike up a hill, and that's a great story across the country. It's a great story. It's so compelling. What a bucket list. And that's interesting. You could write, oh, this is like this, and we put the tent up, or we slept in the blah, blah, blah. But we wrote so many songs in the middle of the song because there was so much more going on in your mind. And you take it.
Well, actually, this page is marked invisibility. The song is called Hard Words, but there were lots of themes that I wanted to write about the trip, and I will at some point when I get them all down in the right way in my head. But one of the themes that this is another word thing that I came up with, or we came up with together, but and invisibility was one of those things where you're on this road on your bike and you're sort of these two figures and cars are rushing by and you sort of have a sense, well, are we invisible or what? And then as an aging person, sort of feeling invisible among lots of people, especially younger people. So that's a future song. The one we're going to sing is Hard Words, which it does come out of the trip. And actually, I think this is our most produced song.
This is our pop hit.
Yeah. This is the one that feels most complete.
It's funny because you wrote so many different songs to get to. It's like this is the song you wanted to write, but sometimes you can't write that song. You have to write 4 other songs to get to this song, and you end up throwing all these things. And you have these spare parts. It's almost like a collage of thought. And it's tough because, and so what is a writer writes that down, then you can't even remember where that was. But you know you have it somewhere, this collage of words into this idea. And I thought you back-ended into the song excellent. I totally got what you were trying to say. Again, it's what you want, but you can't get there, because I don't think songwriting is that apparent. I think it comes from this unconscious kind of daydreamy space. Yeah, this is our hit song. Okay, we'll sell some Budweiser or something with this. Super Bowl monster trucks.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think this is a great image.
Oh, okay, so that's the road in Montana, the same day that this song took place.
But you have to know we started with like 7 to 10 images. It's hard to wheel it down. But the ones that need to be shown, they just make themselves known. And when you showed me this, excuse me, I thought, well, that's what I pictured when you were telling me about some of this stuff. Okay. Is that good? We'll take it around.
On the road in Idaho, last year it was you and me. Rainy, gray day, and Oriel, another hard
this fun. See, we're gonna kick it in the kitchen with the rock and roll band. all middle-aged white people from Southampton, you can do it. You know what I mean? You could go outside of your demo and do that, and you know what? Be there right in the hell of the handbell rafters right now. Before we take questions and answers about the process of songwriting, I thought to tie it back, you were very sweet. You wanted me to play this one song. I do a lot of work with kids. So this one, we're not going to perform it. It's best seen in a video. Let's see if there's an image. This group of students did the exact same thing Hilary did. They had an idea, and they worked with words. They're a little more like nailing Jello to the wall, though, because they're insolent 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they do have so many ideas, but it's a real tough age to even put that forward. We did a lot of word associations, like Hilary did, like I do. I mean, I do this myself. It's a tried and true method if you're a little stuck. And their topic, their idea was innovation. Well, whatever. I had to look that up every time we got into class. What is really innovation? If you ask the exact meaning. And then we started getting into innovation takes energy. Well, then they went about windmills and fracking. And I thought it was going to be some kind of energy song, and that's whatever we want to write about, right? And then we flipped it and we said, what kind of problems, issues do you have that take energy to work through? And then the floodgates open, and I think you'll agree there's just a time, and when the song comes together, where you know where the idea is going, and it hits you. I think just like if you're a visual artist or a writer, or anything, there's a point where it just comes together, and all you have to do is finish it. Some songs take 10 years, they take 3 years, they take 3 minutes. And when you hit that point where you know, like on each one of them that we played, that you know where the song is going, it's just, I gotta finish it, and you're done. And that's exciting. And that's where we are with here. So let's see if this will actually work. You might want to ride up the master on that. Okay. And we'll see. They're 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. White Wyoming kids, rural, in the middle of nowhere.
I just want you to know that this is an organization that you created called Ideas to Inspire, and it's inspiring.
Well, exactly. So Hilary's the first adult student that would come to the program. Yes, we're just beginning. And this would be a long-term project I would do in a schoolroom over the course of a year. And so this is a sample of what that would be. And they're very pure.
It's hard to make the people happy when we cannot help
like seeing those kids do their thing. I guess as we close and get to the Q&A time, I would just say that I don't really think there's much difference in any of the songwriting process. It's about the ideas, it's about the words. I think there's some tricks to bring it out of you from the free associative writing on the word part, but I think it's about the ideas, and certainly somebody like Hilary is not short on those. And I think it's just what I think there's no reason, why can't we start writing songs? Why can't we ride our bikes across the country? I think that's the spirit of this. I think that the words come once the ideas are there. I'm glad you called. Do you have some thoughts before we take some questions?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Yes.
Well, it's like this, the words are three-dimensional, but the music makes it five-dimensional. How do you attach the music to the words?
That's a great question. We talk about that a lot, because in this process, Hilary started playing the guitar again. She'd always played. She got a new guitar and started playing, and there is a connection. A lot of our work, when we came to the time where we were adding some music, I really tried to lay back, because I didn't want to lead the witness too much when it came to that, because we have our styles, and clearly, if you hang around for 5 minutes, I'm going to chuck the guitar very rhythmic, and it's a style I can't even get over. It's how I do things. Hilary's style probably isn't like that, and we have to be sensitive to the fact that I'm chucking everything, and I have my fallback position always. So I wanted to be sensitive and say, here are maybe the chords, but you need to take it home and start singing it in your way and in your voice.
So that's a work in progress. Because Inda, she just hears the tune. When we finally get some verses down, she hears a tune, and then I hear the tune she's thinking, and it's great. That's my biggest struggle. Is I've written a couple of songs in the last few weeks that you haven't even seen yet, and I keep
Look
trying.
at Penny.
I keep trying to put music to them myself, and they all end up sounding like a hymn from very, very much the same sort of steady rhythm and like nice little sweet melodies that I'm sure if I looked hard enough there would be something somewhere that is feeding. But so that's been something I want to work on a lot. It's just coming up with melody.
It's so subjective too, and I think sometimes words obviously give an imagery, so that there's some words have been laid out or a personality has been described. You, as a musician, intuitively know what the vibe or how you would score that as a soundtrack. But there's oftentimes in songwriting where you heard, I call it an earwig, a beat, something that you hear that you feel should be developed into a song. And so it goes reverse before you even have the imagery of the lyrics. And or sometimes you've heard that earwig, you've heard that thing that's so pleasing to you that I just kind of put it on the shelf looking for that right matchup of the words. And then sometimes in the most etherical of all the times, and this part, they lock you up in the lingy bin if you try to explain the process of this. You just can't explain it, you just have to do it. You'll just be sitting there in your space with your instrument or your piano, and Hilary goes to the music room, and you'll play, and because nobody's there around you, that's the worst thing, people, the audience. You just come from this place of your heart and your soul that you feel matches up. And it's very out there, ethereal kind of a thing. And to the point that even when people interrupt that space, I immediately shut down because I don't want to play that because it's too vulnerable to even be heard. But it's in those complete moments of devastating vulnerability that does match up the best. And the best songs come from if somebody walked in the door, you'd be like, you need to leave now. Because you're not, it's coming, but you can't expose that ridiculousness. And I think from the ridiculous, matching up on those word ideas in the lyric, whew, that's the best. That's kind of ethereal. But in the process that we're doing, the lyrics have been leading the way.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to go, because there's a lot of imagery as a writer that Hilary already has. Go. Yes?
Lay it on, Sally.
The if you're thinking of a tune and you go, oh my God, that's it, how do you remember what it was the next day?
I often wonder, just like I often wonder how, it's one thing if you're playing an instrument and your finger corresponds to a note or a beat, and you know that you hit this note, it's going to be a G every time. It is amazing that the voice would memorize too a harmony part or a melody part that would come out, because you have nothing visual to correspond. It's just coming out of your body. And I think when you say, if you hit a melody or a tune, how would you remember it the next day? Often you do, but I find you don't. And so and you hate yourself, and you'll sit there and I'll be like, no, don't talk to me, I had it, well, okay. Because you could play the same piece of music the exact same way, and you still can't conjure up what the melody line was. So lately, I'll sing it to my cell phone, and Hilary's been great in our sessions too. I'll be like, oh, no, we got it, and Hilary will be like, no, let's get the cell phone out. I'm like, no, we don't need to get the crappy cell phone out. And oftentimes I'm like, Hilary, could you get that crappy recording out? Because I don't remember what it was. But 9 times out of 10, Sally, you do kind of remember. And it reminds me of how you would remember a lyric from 100 years ago. And you'll be in the car, and they'll play an old Beatles tune. You can lay down the entire tune. And you sit there and go, how did I remember that? I haven't heard that song in 20 years. And, you just know it. Sometimes the body is a recorder, but we get bollocksed up, I think, with so much other stuff going on in our lives. Sometimes the next day you can't. So I say the cell phone. I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's the quickest tape recorder now, the cell phone. Before you can even get your laptop out or whatever, the cell phone. Just go to voice memo or leave yourself a voicemail. I've done that too. It's a thought. Yeah. Yes.
I'm not quite sure how to phrase this, but there have been so many collaborations. Roger Hammerstein, for example, where one writes the music, the other writes the lyrics. And you are talking about a unified approach. I'm assuming that this is the way you feel it, the ideal way of making a song?
Well, my thoughts on that. There is no ideal way, and that's the fun part. Because just when you get comfortable in one way, you need a new collaboration, or you need something to hit you in the head. What do you think on that? I have a couple other thoughts. What do you think?
Well, just yesterday, Inda was away for 2 weeks. It was wonderful in some ways, because of course people like really focus on this stuff. Know that she was coming home, and 2 days later we were going to be doing this. But when she was away, she went and saw her piano backup person, who's a little musician in Los Angeles, and they worked on some of the stuff she's doing for her next album. And she shared it with me, and I could see this incredible collaboration. And it happens when you're on stage with your other people that are playing with you. I think working with other people, I've always found that, when I was a teacher, I loved working with other people, like having good teachers and things like that, because it just raises the bar in so many ways. You get different streams of thought.
You make each other on.
Yeah.
You make each other, and I think, to your question, is that the ideal way? It can be. I think when I've done commercial collaborations where you're given a topic, I did one case in point a couple of years ago. There was the commercial job was I had to write the lyrics for, of all things, it was a Disney in Japan, and they had a Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. And to keep crowd control down, they bring out the people in costume to do a dance, and they needed to refurbish what that song was. So Eve, the one you're talking to, she calls me over. She said, deadline. We have to turn this in by tomorrow. Disney wants this. I'm not in the mood. I'll do the music, you do the lyrics. So she comes over to the house. I asked her what their keywords are. I wrote down the keywords. I Googled Disney Euro Japan just to get a vibe of what the hell that was. I mean, I didn't even know we had one there. Fine. Kind of looked at the images just to try to get my head in this thing. It's winter. It's due, I think, the next morning at 10. I said, Eve, just come over. I've got my notes. And I threw our standard pool out of his dog bed. Eve could have took a glass of wine, sat in the dog bed, and we sat there, and we, typical, got real relaxed, and was like, okay, what were you thinking musical? And then she was kind of doing her thoughts, and I said, okay, and the words just came, and that's a great example of how it works. But that's when people can be vulnerable with each other, because when somebody's scatting the la 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 la, hey hey heys, and you just have to make sure that nobody's going to clamp you down and go, that's a horrible deal. Versus, yeah, that's good, let's work on that. I mean, if you have that relationship where people like Hilary and I can sit at the table and go, yeah, that works, how about try this? It works really well. I think the biggest barrier to that is the vulnerability of why would you want to sit at a table in a collaboration where the vibe wasn't right and you couldn't allow your vulnerability. So I think the key is to develop those writing relationships where you can be in a session. And then I think it's excellent.
I think what motivated my question was when Hilary said that you've been away for 2 weeks and that she was hearing tunes in her head that reminded her of hymns, and I thought, I'd like to hear that. In other words, that may be what your inward, this may be your theme, the way you will evolve it.
And it is, and truly, she does, we always start this like, well, you have to just forget how you think it, just sing how you heard it in your head. Because that's always the way. How did you hear it in your head? I mean, there are multi-platinum songs that we hear all the time, commercials, otherwise, that just somebody heard it in their head. And the truth is, it has to start there. And absolutely, maybe we'll do a tour of hymn rock. Who's got another question?